Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to discuss postcolonialism. Postcolonialism is the critical academic study of the cultural, political, and economic legacy of colonialism and imperialism, focusing on the impact of human control and exploitation of colonized people and their lands. The field started to emerge in the 1960s as scholars from previously colonized countries began publishing on the lingering effects of colonialism, developing a critical theory, analysis of the theory, culture, literature, and discourse. Of course, imperial power as an epistemology, ethics, and as a political science, the field of postcolonialism addresses the matters that constitute the post-colonial identity of a colonized people which derives from the colonizers' generation of cultural knowledge about the colonized people and how the Western cultural knowledge was applied to subjugate a non-European people into a colony of the European mother country, which after initial invasion was effected by means of the cultural identities of colonizer and the colonized. Postcolonialism is aimed at disempowering such theories by means of which colonialists perceive and understand and know the world. Postcolonial theory thus establishes intellectual spaces for subaltern peoples to speak for themselves in their own voices and thus produce cultural discourses of philosophy, language, society, and economy, balancing the imbalanced us and them binary power relationship between the colonist and the colonial subjects. Key terms in postcolonial theory. There are some key points to know to understand the postcolonialism. Some basic ideas associated with postcolonialist literature. First one, colonialism. The imperialist expansion of Europe into the rest of the world during the last 400 years, in which a dominant imperium of center carried on a relationship of control and influence over its margins or colonies. The relationship tended to extend to social, pedagogical, economic, political, and broadly culturally exchange, often with a hierarchical European settler class and logic educated elites class forming layers between the Europeans' mother nations and the various indigenous people who were controlled. Such a system carried within it inherent notions of racial inferiority and exotic otherness. Postcolonialism, broadly a study of the effects of colonialism on cultures and societies. It is concerned with both how European nations conquered and controlled Third World cultures and how these groups have since responded to and resisted those encroachments. Postcolonialism as both a body of theory and a study of political and cultural changes has gone and continue to go through three broad stages. A. Initial awareness of the social, psychological, and cultural inferiority enforced by being in a colonized state. B. The struggle for ethnic, cultural and political economy. C. A growing awareness of cultural overlap and hybridity. Ambivalence. The ambiguous way in which colonizer and colonized regard one another. The colonizer often regards the colonized as both inferior yet exotically other, while the colonized regards the colonizer as both enviable yet corrupt. In a context of hybridity, this often produces a mixed sense of blessings and curse. Alterity. The state of being other or different, the political, cultural, linguistic or religious other. The study of the ways in which one group makes themselves different from others. Colonial education. The process by which a colonizing power assimilates either a subaltern native elite or a larger population to its way of thinking and seeing the world. Diaspora. The voluntary or enforced migration of peoples from their native homelands. Diaspora literature is often concerned with questions of maintaining or altering identity, language and culture while in other culture or country. Essentialism. The essence of whatness of something in context of race, ethnicity or culture. Essentialism suggests Essentialism suggests the practice of various groups deciding what is and isn't popular particular identity.